Good afternoon, people. What is good? We are here for episode 5 of the Super Sunday podcast with your boy Paice Maker.
That's good.
I think I've spoken a lot about Paice, but he's never actually made an appearance on the channel as of yet. I've bigged him up for all the channel art and the designs that he's done for me, but I've never actually had you on as a guest. So welcome, bro.
Oh, cheers, bro.
No, I think I've got your link in the description. Yeah, you're there. Don't worry. But yeah, this episode we are here to talk about everything ranging from gaming to music, which is something that me and Paice can both talk about. And we've got a document with a couple of topics on that we'll go through for you guys. And if you're not already subscribed, please do so to both me and Paice. So the first topic to talk about, bro, is YouTube ruining gaming?
Wow. Well, this is a good topic, isn't it? Especially with you seen all the Last of Us 2 stuff.
Yeah.
So they've been a sub company called Muso Limited have been DMCA and anybody that even mentions something that's happening within the game or something like that. It's wild, bro. It's really wild. I don't know.
I mean, in terms of anything coming out of the game itself, obviously, how long has it been released for now? Just
a week, maybe not even that.
But there's always going to be bits of pieces that come out even before the game or after the game or during where, reviews will start happening. I remember you saying last night whilst we were gaming that bad reviews are getting taken down of the game because it's all for well, is it a publicity stunt? Is it a
What I think has happened, is that because obviously the first Last of Us is massive. It was, they've got it down as on Metacritic, which is kind of a place where you can go and you have a user review. It's a bit like, the Rotten Tomatoes of films.
Yeah.
So you have your critics review and then your audience review. Yeah. And basically, I'm there, the first Last of Us, which I could see why people enjoyed it, because people enjoy it for different reasons. I wasn't fond of the gameplay. I thought the gameplay was a bit dull and monotonous and quite boring, which is weird because I really like Death Stranding. So, maybe there's something different about that. But so it's got a massive score. It's got a 96 score. And then on The Last of Us 2, it's got out of 98 reviews or something. I'm just kind of ballparking the figures, but out of 98 reviews from people that have had early access, so all your press, IGN, and all them different companies having early access, they've all given it 100% score.
Yeah.
But there's been an embargo where they can't discuss the last 12 hours of gameplay or something. And the only reason that is in place is because those last 12 hours are pivotal to the story. I've not played it. I've watched countless reviews and I've seen people playing through it, and it just looks like a complete mess.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think there's something weird going on, because obviously Metacritic are now deleting user scores, saying that, they're just botted, but then 100% scores that have got absolutely no flavour into what they're saying are not botted as well. So it's one rule for one rule for the other. It just, we've got two sides of the coin here with the YouTube thing. The YouTube thing is clearly allowed people to kind of highlight problems that are happening within gaming.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, it's been, especially in light of everything that's going on at the minute, we've had replacements for sports. They're only temporaries because, they're not a patch on the real thing, but you've just had your E24 Hours of Le Mans. There's been the virtual Grand Prix series that's been on. We've got the Soccer Raid is going to be Soccer Raid or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I only saw the announcement today. So yeah, we've had like they're temporary replacements. But they so it's been good in that sense to still kind of people still trying to give you that form of entertainment. So I don't know. It's it's two sides to the coin when it comes to YouTube, but it's all a mess, really. It's some of it's good, some of it's bad. It's just the same with any platform. I mean, look at Mixer. Mixer's just gone into like shutting down now, and I know somebody who is like a Mixer partner, and she is like a full-time streamer. She dropped out of university to do full-time streaming. And I don't know how she's going to fare out of it. I know she's moving to Twitch, but I don't know how she's going to do out of it now.
I think, like you say, each platform, whether you got YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, Facebook gaming, there's always going to have that, like you say, that 50-50, good, bad. They're always going to compare of what it's like on the platform. And each platform has its own differences. Like that's why a lot of people go to Twitch to stream rather than to put videos up like with YouTube. And if you're streaming a game compared to editing and reviewing and looking, and a lot of gameplay and time goes into it. Like I don't know a lot about Mixer. I don't really know what it's for. I don't really know much about it, other than the fact that obviously in the last couple of days that it's kind of all going very much downhill. But
yeah.
Where does that leave? So does that leave now Twitch and YouTube on top of the game, or does it leave because Twitch will that slowly start going downhill? Like will it all start following a trend?
Twitch won't go downhill. Well, I don't know. The DMCA thing with Twitch, where now major music labels have come in and said, hey, people are playing our music in the background of their streams, so we want compensation. Yeah. Which is just music industry all over trying to get money that they're not really entitled to. But with that's kind of been a big off-put, especially, there was people doing lots of DJs and things were like going onto Twitch because they could play what they want, there'd be no problems, and they can live stream in front of their audiences in times like this. And then so I think that brought the music industry to Twitch, and then they kind of went, hang on, there's money to be made here, which is off-putting, because then that means, there's no integrity from Twitch to put their creators first. It kind of, they're probably getting a fat check, and then they're just going to go, oh, you've got to go back and delete your back catalogue of streams now with any music in. It's like a you problem. And I just think, right, okay. And as we've known for years, YouTube don't put their creators first either. No. So there aren't many sites that are putting their creators first. And I think that is the fundamental issue, is that the platform is built on people creating content. And all it's been is, just the corporations that be, or the powers that be, just kind of taking advantage on people who like to create. And I think that's like the tall and short of it, really. So I would say it's the current state of it, I think, is getting worse, but the people won't go down without a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the algorithm is constantly changing for every platform. The contracts, like you say, the corporatization of it all, even the capitalization for money and for the putting themselves first. And I understand in times like this, it is never easy to put yourself out there. It's never easy to support everybody, but I think platforms as a whole, as much as the people within the gaming community or the streaming community come together, and if it's not got that support by YouTube, by Twitch, it's not going to go anywhere. It's always going to end up with YouTube or Twitch on top, ultimately.
It's weird, isn't it, as well, because it's like a person makes the content,
Yeah.
and then it's people that watch and support it, and then that level of volume gets calculated into revenue, and that person gets paid.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, the people that own the platform, obviously, YouTube is the platform, but for it to function and work properly, it's ran by people consuming content
Yeah.
and people making content. So fundamentally, it makes no sense, because all you're doing is just driving people away from your platform. The only problem is, it's like a convenience thing now, isn't it? It's like if you want to search for anything on the internet, you just Google it, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, well, nobody wants to go and use, a different search engine, or nobody wants to use Bing, or nobody wants to use, the Ecosia or whatever. People just prefer convenience, and it's laziness from us as consumers, but also it's, allowing ourselves to be confined within the space of, oh, they said this, so that's how it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if a big money head, or like you say, a big corporate like comes out and says this is it. Like I remember when Firefox used to be the days. Everyone was on Firefox search engine, or like
Yeah.
and it'll always go up and up to the change. People are always trying to be out by each other, or outsay, or outdo, or bring out new games to compete with each other. And that's what I mean. The classic battle is FIFA versus Pez. One says one thing, another does another. One says, but because of the popularity, I don't know many guys that I don't know many people that play Pez more over FIFA, and I don't Call of Duty, Battlefield. There's always that head-to-head on any games.
It's the same, in the sim racing thing as well. People prefer R Factor, people prefer Assetto Corsa, people prefer Gran Turismo. Like, it's just people have preferences on what they want, but fundamentally, what we're doing is we're just causing a big rift between each other, because it's like recently I found out with like streaming services, for instance, the reason that streaming services obviously came in place is because it was kind of like the answer to piracy and Pirate Bay and LimeWire and Napster and them companies back in the day. So then, 2008, Spotify is born, and Netflix 2007, I think, and they've kind of built themselves up into a position where, if people want music, they go to Spotify, or if people want TV, they go to Netflix. And the problem that we've got now is that initially that's not a bad idea if, Netflix had rights for Disney and for all these other bits, but Netflix now, Disney have gone, oh, hang on, why can't we do what Netflix are doing? So then they start doing their own thing.
Yeah.
HBO start doing their own thing. And Amazon have got their own thing. And Apple have got their own thing. And it gets to a point where the market gets that overly saturated. It becomes off-putting.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, you then lose the clients that you're trying to appeal to, and they will just resort back to music piracy or to film piracy, which is exactly what's happening. All the figures and all the stats, and they're all pointing to people going right back to where it started, and that was, doing file-to-file sharing, or doing music and just doing piracy. So piracy is still there. It never went, and it was never, these companies are clever to a degree, but they're too clever. They've outdone themselves. They've played themselves completely. And now we're in a situation where we're getting oversaturated markets, and it's becoming off-putting for people. And people are kind of just investing their time on the platform that they have the biggest following. So it's sad to see somebody like Mixer go when there's people that, have invested their livelihoods. It's all right for people like Shroud and Ninja, their headliners, because their contracts Facebook tried to buy them out. They said no, so they got a massive payout on their contracts. I think Ninja got about 30 mil because the contract collapsed. So it's all right for them. But then I'm thinking about, my friend from uni who's been a mixer streamer, and it's her main source of income or whatever, and now it's not, she's got to kind of start again, and it's just a mess. Everything's a mess, and I think oversaturation with the whether it be streaming services or look at Twitch. Everybody wants to be a social media influencer, or or they want to be I don't know, YouTuber, Twitch streamer. It's kind of like the most desired job in our generation, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, and the cycle is always going to keep going. Of you start, you get to a point, and then it comes full circle again. And it's the same with like, it's not easy to make the switch over from YouTube to Twitch or Twitch to YouTube, whatever way you go on any platform. But you'll start off, and you start creating your name, getting out there again, and you'll set off anew. You create your audience, your base, and then something will happen. You'll get a disequilibrium somewhere, and you have to start again, whether it be a little change or a bigger change where you have to fully switch platforms. And unfortunately, with the generation of YouTube, like, look how many generations of YouTubers, slowly start building up, becoming big. Like right now, obviously, the Sidemen are probably the biggest UK YouTubers out there.
Yeah.
But
collective.
How long before we get someone new, and then there's another new cycle, and it's just a repetitive process that will get very tedious, so to say.
Well, the fundamental thing is missing, that these people, your Sidemen, when it started out, they were just making, just putting like FIFA gameplay up and somebody would watch it. You know what I mean? And that's what it started with. Look at FaZe, for instance. FaZe was a group of guys that used to play Call of Duty and do trick shots and then put montages together, and that got them to 1 million subscribers. And then they kept building, and as time's gone on, people want to watch like reality TV in YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy. There's more people doing like creating real life drama and reacting to real life drama, and then there's somebody else that's trying to, like, everything is like person to person, and it's a weird contrast because it's not quite the person to person that having this conversation around a table at a pub. I find that's really good interpersonal communication and sitting with each other and stuff. But people are doing it across a platform where they're never actually seeing each other or doing anything, but people thrive on the drama and stuff. I mean, look at the Keemstar H3 thing. It's like, I like watched the H3 video, I watched the Keemstar video, whatever. I was like, is this really, like, are people really that bothered about this? Because at the end, I just walked away from it and went, so they're both shit. You know what I mean? Like, so they're both terrible. They both do bad things. Okay, cool. Like, it's hilarious, really. So it's all about drama, man.
Diss tracks, bro. Diss tracks were the one like 2-3 years ago.
Bro, that set people's careers off. Rice Gum wouldn't be Rice Gum without diss tracks.
True.
And it like gets to a point where, like, you can have reality. It's kind of like, reality people become part of organizations just based on the fact that they've got following from the stuff they've done. Reality, they don't really like the stuff that they've done you know, if they do pranks on people or whatever, then they'll end up in FaZe, and you just go, well, I thought FaZe was a trick shotting team. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
The process of everything's changed, and the core of it is gone. And that's why I genuinely don't think, I think right now we're in YouTube's most overly saturated phase. And I think it will get to a point where it will be a cycle, but it will be another platform that starts up, and people will then move to there, and then people will start going on there to do stuff, and then the whole audience will like just shift over, and it'll be like, oh, do you remember YouTube? Yeah, that was a thing. You know, same things happened with MySpace, the same thing, you know, Blockbuster. These were all massive companies back in the day, and then, you know, Netflix has overtaken them now, and Facebook took over MySpace, and there'll always just be a new company that does something. It's like SoundCloud.
Yeah.
SoundCloud has been like a go-to for people to upload their tracks and all that stuff. And then Audius, a brand new company that have just come in, they started like end of last year. They do exactly what SoundCloud does, but there's like no limits, no having to pay for pro or anything like that. Like, it's just, and it's like the platform is just, it's 10 times better than SoundCloud. It just doesn't have the people on it.
Yeah.
And I just think it'll only be a matter of time before everyone just moves over to there, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, I do all my music discovery, I put all my music on Audius, and yeah, it's just a cycle. The cycle just goes on, and nothing will change really, to be honest with you.
We'll get on to your music in a little while, because I know that obviously you're working towards a lot of music at the moment, and a lot of, you know, trying to grow Fresh UK Official and all that, you know, and I'll put a link in it. But before we move on, let's come away from a heavier topic, and let's go towards a more personal feel of, like, what is like the first game you remember playing, or the first game that got you into gaming and wanting to push?
I'll tell you what, we got like, I remember we had a PS1. And
Yeah.
this is a long time ago. Like, we was at our old house. I've lived in this house all my life, so, well, pretty much all my life. I think I was maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And my dad got PS1, and on there we had Gran Turismo 2, Army Men Sarge's Heroes, and what else did we have? We only had a few games. I only remember those 2 games significantly, and then I remember ended up getting Destruction Derby off my uncle when he didn't want, because he moved. He got an Xbox when the Xbox came eventually. But yeah, I remember. I think the first game I ever played was Gran Turismo 2, and I didn't know what I was doing with it or anything like that. But I remember it was in the I swear it was in the kitchen, and like my dad was playing Gran Turismo 2, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then my parents got me a Game Boy, and then I think I invested so much time in Pokemon Yellow, like, it was ridiculous. And that's kind of where the intrigue for it started, I think. And then I've always just been interested in playing games. And then, as probably when I was like 16 or so, when Black Ops 2 was out, and like I started getting into like watching the esports and things like that, I just found it entertaining. Like, it's like sports, but it's on a game that you play. So like you're playing the sport. Like, it's weird. It's like a weird connection. So yeah, that's kind of like the earliest memory I have of playing a game. I think was Gran Turismo 2.
Yeah, I think for me, I remember having a PlayStation 1, but in terms of games wise, I was very young, so I was still knocking about with like Power Rangers and Action Man and things like that. But
I was Hot Wheels all the way, man. Like,
in terms of a proper console and game, I remember Call of Duty Big Red Button or World War on the original Xbox, and then FIFA 06 was the first FIFA I played properly. And then Matrix Revelations.
Yeah, that game was sick. What a classic. I
And
remember
then,
I borrowed it on GameCube, man.
yeah, GameCube. I had a GameCube, man. Star Wars, the first Battlefront, I think, was on there. Like, you know, when it was like 2004 and things knocking about. And then Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Mad. And my first handheld.
Battlefront 2 on PS.
Yeah. Place. Oh God. I've always. Hang on, bro.
Wait, Revenge of the Sith. What was it? Oh, what was it called? It was like Sith Apprentice.
There was
I can't remember what it was, you know.
yeah.
I know what.
Revenge of
I
the
think I know
Sith.
exactly what. Oh, what was it called? What was that?
It's gone.
You're lagging hella. What's gone?
Hella lag. There is a couple of technical difficulties. We could. Oh,
Okay, I've got you. I've got you back. Like you're blurry as hell on my screen, but I've got you back.
I've got us both, so it's cool. I'll just
There we go.
message you.
There we go.
Just a couple of technical difficulties. It's so hard, bro. Like when you know, trying to run off Wi-Fi connection and solely purposefully, and like if we could do this in the pub or if we could do this elsewhere, bro, you best believe that we're there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember when I did the Ghost Recon. I used to do the Ghost Recon podcast when we started doing the Ghost Recon esports, and like me and Miko would sit in the kitchen, or I think I had Dan on one of them as well. Like we would just sit in the kitchen and like just bang the camera
Yeah.
on, and then like sit and talk. Like it was good, man. Like I enjoy doing podcasts like in person. They're good. I've never done anything like this really.
I mean, I ain't sure how long we're going to be like this for, but like soon. I know by the time I move to Manchester, hopefully I'll be able to crack some proper material.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, my first handheld console was the PSP.
Oh yeah, classic. I remember we got the PSP. I've still got mine. Mine still works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought some batteries for it at like some point during this month. No, a few months ago I bought some batteries for it. It's still ticking over.
Mad. And I was just saying, I'm always flicking between Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. You know, depending on where I'm at. So at uni, I've got my PlayStation, but back at my mum's house, I've got an Xbox.
Right, got you.
At my dad's house, he's got a PlayStation, but then like my sisters have got a Switch, and I'll keep dashing. And it's always good to see the comparison between the consoles. Like right now, we'll soon have the PS5 and the Xbox X.
Yeah, how did you feel about those? Because I was like well underwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't tend to watch the reveals because I like seeing the reactions before I, dive deeper into looking at like, RAM batteries. Like I know that I'm quite apprehensive about the digital PS5 with no discs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because that means you're subject to the store, and like there's no buying, a 20 quid copy off Amazon when it's on sale on Amazon. Then you have to go and buy the £60 copy off the store. Surely that's. I mean, I don't know. Have we got a digital PS4 out, or is that just the Xbox that's got just the digital one?
I didn't think so.
I think it's the Xbox. Like the Xbox. What's it called? Xbox 1000 or whatever. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, no, there's no digital PlayStation. Obviously, you'll always have digital games. And I mean, it's like new Xbox. Yeah, so it's the digital Xbox One S1000.
Right.
Build a
Yeah.
library of digital games, pre-install upcoming games.
Yeah, I don't see the benefit of that. I see the benefit of it in terms of storage. So, you know, you just keep everything on your console, but where's the everything is digital now. So like, you know, even music, people don't go and buy CDs, they just stream stuff off Spotify.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you truly feel like you're supported something if you don't. Like, if you own that, then it's like, you know, if you own a T-shirt, a Star Wars T-shirt or whatever, it's like you own that, so that's your part of that franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what
But
you're saying.
everything's digital. It's kind of like you don't technically own anything. And
Like,
if that console, it's like, I don't know. I mean, you still have access to it through your account, but you know, re-downloading everything, it's like, I don't know. I feel like it would take more time.
I mean, the smallest version is a one terabyte, I think.
1 terabyte. I've got oh, I don't know where it is. Yeah, my external hard drive on my laptop is a terabyte.
And like you said, that the time consuming of downloads surely can't benefit. Like just having that feel of a
It
disc.
all, yeah. I know. It's like it all takes so much time. Like I can uninstall like Death Stranding, for instance, and then not play it or whatever. And then if I come back to it, I'll put the disc in, and then it like installs in like triple the time because I had the disc. Do you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
takes not as much time to install. And then look at me trying to install Warzone. It took like 100 gig. 100 gig. It took me 2 days to download it. 2 days. In 2020, it took me 2 days to download a game. I just think, wow, this is remarkable.
And there's constant updates for every game. Like Warzone, every other week there's a new update, bro. And that whole update is about like 9 gig, 10, 11 gig, and it's a whole game in itself in just one update.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. To be fair, like live service games seem to be like the most popular thing at the minute. Like everyone seems to be like digging the live service things or your mobile games that you know they do like live raids or the Division 2 does raids or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I definitely like digging the live service thing. Like really have gone like digging the live service only period in time. Like I'm fully like more about trying to get some gritty story because I noticed this with mobile games that definitely have gone off that. Because I noticed this weird comparison the other day, right? It hadn't had any sports, but the substitute for that has been electronic sports. So, like, you know, watching your e-racing or whatever. So, and it kind of doesn't have the same feel because you're watching a game and you know you're watching a game as well.
Yeah.
And when you go to game, you feel like you've already been playing a game because you've been watching it. Like, you've just been watching someone else do it, and then you go to play something else, and you know what? It gets mad boring. So the whole escapism thing is lost because it's kind of all you've got at the minute. Like anything you want to do, if you want to watch things on YouTube or whatever, it's just everything's digital. And I don't watch television anyway, so it's you know it's I get my enjoyment from sitting around with people and having a laugh and stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's more so now than I used to. I'd probably say that I didn't used to be so wanting to be like out with people and stuff. Like I could happily like just sit in and you know spend 5 hours on Apex or something like. But nah, this period in time has been a full like 180, and just investing time in noticing proper, how for granted it was just going to Tower Bar or just walking to the shop. Like, it's mad. Like, so the gaming thing I've kind of gone off it a lot, and I realized, like, when I do play, I just want to play some story based game, so I ain't got to think about real world problems. The whole point of it is that it's like, it's escapism from the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you'll go on FIFA, or you'll go on card, and then there'll be like either a political message, or there'll be something to do with all the protests that are going on at the minute, and it's just like, or there'll be something to do with the Mexican beer that's floating around, and it's just like, oh man, I went on this to get away from this, and it's like following me.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's a mess. But you notice as well, that's only on the live service stuff. Like, you can't pre-install it onto a DVD, or and that's the thing. The digital versions of everything, they can just plug into it and put whatever they want in it at any moment. Whereas the disc, it's kind of like yours. You know what I mean? You keep that. It's not tampered with. They don't touch it. Like,
yeah. And so many, like, used to just be like, right, come home from school, stick, you see all these memes, like, used to just stick on Modern Warfare 2, play for a couple of hours, rust.
Yeah.
And now, like you say, there's political messages everywhere, just trying to get words out, trying to, affect social media, affect gameplay, or like. And I understand, obviously, these are important matters and times that we're all going through, but like you say, it's just lost that escapism effect. It's lost that. I came to, like you say, get away with it. I didn't come to have it something I have to read myself about a matter that's already going on that I know about.
Yeah, and that's the core. I mean, I keep saying that's the core, but everything is its core pocket in a certain place. But that is certainly like just a hot topic. Like, you load up FIFA, brings up this message, and people go, oh, look at EA putting that message in, or look at Activision putting that message in, and like making these statements, and then you look back on things that they've done previously, and they, Activision banned a guy that was like a Chinese pro player because he was in support of the people that are going through it in Hong Kong, and like they banned him from that because they were saying he's like trying to like take over or some weird stuff. But then Activision then come out now and like, oh no, we're with the people or whatever, and it's like, your track record don't say you with no people. Like, I don't believe anything that comes out of any of these companies' mouths, and the pointless messages that they're putting on their live service games are just a waste of development. They're quick to put in a message like that, but then they can't fix like the loot drops in games, or they can't fix the fact that you can't complete this mission on easy difficulty, even though it's it's just like spending too much time pandering to people, and it's just and some people eat it up and they go, oh yeah, no, oh, that's good to see, and it's just like, no, F that, they've done goal before. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's just see through it. Like, let's just do our own thing. Like, I don't pay attention to any of that stuff, man. It's just off-putting. Just like, oh god, I came here to get away. I came here to play some football with Forest, and it's like, I've got to read this
message
that I don't even think the company stands by. So,
I mean, it's one of them things that has got that alter 50-50 side. It's one moment it's this, the next minute it can be this, and they do it for them, not for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and don't get me wrong, there's part of it is like, marketing, that they'll, release something on a particular day. I don't know. Let's use Pride as an example. Like FIFA might, oh, you can buy this kit for £2 or whatever, and it's like a rainbow coloured kit,
Yeah,
and then people go buy it because it's in, you're like, oh, I'll buy it because this is in support of Pride, but it's EA making money off that. If they were bothered, they would just do their own back. They would donate money to a charity instead of trying to gain money. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's, I don't trust any company as far as I can throw them. And I mean, I make that point clear on some videos in my channel, and I've started to read into things a bit more. Like there was this thing that come out about some of the creators, some content creators on YouTube are
yeah.
actually like they're only there because the company set them up as content creators and then pays them a wage every month to make YouTube videos that are in a positive light for their game. And it's
Right.
like, well, so the most desired job, or one of the most desirable jobs in our generation,
Yeah,
you could probably say that, I don't know this for a fact, but I'd probably put my money on at least a quarter of the creators are put in place by developers or by companies and they're getting like a set wage or whatever, and then we're all here going, yeah, anybody can do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, maybe not, because there's people being put in place and being paid to do it. Like it's crazy. So it's I don't know. Everything just goes weird, man. Like sometimes I don't know what I'm seeing and what I'm believing, but there's concrete fact that people are being paid to just push content, and it's like, wow, that is. You think everybody's got their own separate opinion on things, and that's why you follow different channels for different perspectives, and somebody might be getting paid for something, and you wouldn't even know.
yeah. It's and like all these ads that come in midway through video, you find that actually in the whole monetization part of it, you click where you put your ads, whether it's at the beginning, middle, end, you put in the ads that you are paid to promote, or
Mm.
and you actually have a lot more control. And like you say, people will get paid just to push a certain product or push a certain image or message across. And it's very much dog eat dog, and that's why it's very hard, I think, for a lot of people to start off at the bottom and establish themselves as this wholesome YouTuber that millions of people watch day in
Yeah,
day out.
yeah, yeah. You see, because in contrast, like you've got no problem with anybody trying to make a living and getting a sponsor that I use a guy like the Quartering as a prime example. He's a guy that does like social commentary on YouTube things that are happening, and there was something kicked off with Pokimane,
Yeah.
and it's a Gundam. I'm not sure if you heard anything about that.
Very briefly, I think if it's only knocking around Twitter or, anything's been mentioned, then I don't, unless I know something particularly about it that I want to find out, I won't dive in too much on it.
Essentially, like it's a Gundam made like a video, and Pokimane was doing like a live stream or something, and then they've got like she's got like all the simps that are like donating the money and whatnot. And then It's a Gundam was talking about the simps, but it was just the fact that it was Pokimane's video. And anyway, this kind of like escalated, and Pokimane like was questioning the people that sponsor It's a Gundam,
Yeah.
and was like, why would you sponsor that content or whatever? And then as a result of that happening, It's a Gundam lost out on a big old sponsor.
Mad.
And so, and then obviously then the Keemstar thing started happening, and the sponsors thing there, and then he got dropped by G Fuel or whatever. And it's like, people making livings, and I understand, people need sponsors because sponsors kind of probably pay better than YouTube do. Not probably, they do. Probably, I keep saying probably. They do pay better than what YouTube does, and people are trying to make a living. So, but you've got to know what products you're pushing, and like the ethics behind what it is you're pushing. Because some people are just pushing tat, and it's like I'm not really sure why you're pushing that. And then there's some people that are pushing something like Ridge Wallet or whatever. One, because the product is good, but two, because the company stands by the creators. They put the creators first. So you like go, oh, okay, well, this must be worth the time, or it must be worth the shout out. So I understand everybody trying to make the money whilst they can make it, because I don't think there's longevity in YouTube. But people can get a solid 10, 15 years, but I think it's the same in a lot of industries. Like models and things like that. Like they have you have this window of time to try and make as much cash as you can, because after that you might actually have to go and get a job, like a manual labor job, or
Yeah.
or an office job or something. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Creative jobs are great whilst you're doing them and whilst you're making money from them. But you've got to try and you've got to look 10, 15 years ahead and go, will I be all right when I get to there? Or am I going to be, am I going to be able to sustain myself longer? Or it's mad. It's proper mad.
I mean, that's a good segue, because on the list is like, does gaming help develop skills? Does it, what can it help people with, like mentally, physically? Can it push like, confidence and a lot of like selling points and marketing and, things like that? Like you say, in what people are going to start, if you're in the whole influencer business, how long can you be before you have to start looking for a job? And that's why personally I don't want to take it up full time and push this thing, like, because so much time goes into it, 4 or 5 videos a week, people that are at the top pushing. But I still want my life alongside this. I still want to be me and have my my teaching, and I still want to go out there. But if I didn't have the skills that I've learned from editing, or if it's communication or confidence, would I be who I am today, if that makes sense?
I think there's so many pros and cons. I think the cons are you're only, for a lot of people, they're only kind of dealing with people in a digital space. So then when it comes to actually engaging with people in a person-to-person space, in an environment where there's people around you and stuff, there might be there's a struggle, because you've never had that social interaction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the same token, you kind of get used to addressing audiences and kind of making your points. This is not a weird question. This is a great question, because I definitely think that I've got good reaction time and good reaction speeds, because I think playing cards or playing racing games or whatever helps that. I think
Yeah.
even my old science teacher, one of my old science teachers, he said, I still play Call of Duty because it helps with my reaction time. Like I used to be quite slow at catching things, or I couldn't do it, and I started playing cards for like a year, and it was like, and then I suddenly was able to like catch things dead quick, or stop something from falling on the floor, or so. I think my reaction times are quite quick, like instantaneous reaction times, which has been helpful when I've been driving and somebody does something, and you have to try and avoid an accident. Whereas I definitely think if I'd have been any slower, I would have hit that guy, or we would have been in an accident, or etc. So I think there's like a practical development, which is like you gain a physical. There's like a physical thing, but then there's loads of scenarios where mentally I don't know if it's good. People being boxed up in a room, just staring at a screen, not having any sunlight, not going outside, like
Yeah.
because there are people that will do that. Do you know what I mean? They will just on the screen, and then they'll get food, they'll get a drink or whatever, and then they'll be for like the longest time. I've done it myself. Do you know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
don't feel good for it. Like I think I've definitely at some point spent a solid like 7 hours or something like, and you just regret like investing that much time in something because you didn't physically progress anywhere. Like it doesn't, what came of that 7 hours that went by, and absolutely nothing in the
Yeah.
end. So there's pros and cons. Like if you've got, I always try and look at it this way now. If I do, at the minute, because there's nothing going on. I've not even got any uni work to be doing or anything like that. So for me now, it's like, if I've done, if I've trained and if I've, done some music editing or made some beats or something, then, come 10 o'clock, I might treat myself to a few hours
Yeah.
on the console, because at that point you're kind of winding down anyway, and, it's the end of the day. Or, if I've been at work or whatever. So I kind of use it more in a sense of, okay, there's nothing happening at this time, the brain is slowly stopping its function for the day, so I'm just going to, invest a few hours. But when, you spend the whole day doing it and it just don't benefit you. But then again, you would rather somebody playing video games than selling drugs, or,
Oh
you
yeah.
know what I mean? It's what can you say? I suppose it's just, it's good in one sense and it's really bad in another sense.
I mean, for me, gaming, it's helped me. This is never a good. Oh, not it's never a good thing. This can backfire in the sense that it helps me think one step ahead, like in life, as if I'm gaming, like try and predict or counter something that I think could happen. So in a basic Call of Duty where you're pushing and you're like, right, someone could be here, so I've got to prepare for that, or something could happen, so I've got to. And I'm always now very. I don't know what the word is, but I'm very like open, but sheltered, in a sense that like
Apprehensive.
yeah, I'd say apprehensive. Like if I know that if I say something and it could go one way, I've pre-thought that that's the way it's going to go. So this is my answer. This is what I'm going to say. Or if I do something and it goes, I've done this, what ways could it go? How do I forward think or try and preempt a move to move forward? And like I say, it is not always a good thing. Like you say, there's some good, there's some bad. But I think there's definitely more. I mean, mental and physical skills kind of come hand in hand. If you're mentally aware, the chances are you're probably more physically aware, or your reaction times are quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, so many people will just be like deadpan, and then they'll come to a situation of like socials, and they won't say a word because they don't know how, because it's not through a headset.
Yeah. I think that's the only. That's probably my main problem with it is there's no. You might feel like you're playing or doing stuff with your friends, but like you not really, because they're not here. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not like, we're all sat around watching the game, we've got some beers on the go or whatever. It's kind of like, oh, I'm watching the game and they're watching the same game, but they're not here, and that's why this lockdown thing has been, it's either been really easy for some people to kind of get used to it. Some people are kind of like on the fence, like, I can't wait for everything to go back to normal, but I've adjusted. And then there's some people who just have not adjusted at all.
Yeah.
And like, this is really not the norm. And this is for me been really tough in a sense of, I would do things with people all the time, like, I would organise a poker night, or I'd always want to try and do stuff when I'm not at work. So
Yeah.
I can have laughs and experiences with people in person. Like, you can have laughs and stuff on there, but it's just not. I know it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? I can only hear how somebody says something. I can't see how somebody says it, or I can't,
Yeah.
if doing something stupid, I can't see the reaction, or there's so many things missing, and that's like, it's another problem with social media. You don't see how it's said, or you don't hear how it's said. You just see the words, you interpret the words as is, and then you cast your own opinions and things. And
Yeah.
I'm just taking a backseat on everything now. I'm just kind of letting it roll.
Well, let's talk about you saying you're trying to do music and you're trying to work and take a back seat and just do your own thing. Tell people about Fresh UK and what that is and what you're pushing there.
Well, it's mad because this year it's kind of finally taken the form in which I think it actually is. And like, when I was at college, I started listening to music that I realised not loads of people, like, it's not like the mainstream, or like not everybody's listening to it. Lots of independent artists and future beats and things like that. And I wanted to start uploading tracks to YouTube, basically, because I could produce, but I'm not on this level that, like, I've seen people producing. Like, it's people who produce are incredible, absolutely incredible at what they do. But I have a knowledge on how music industry works and how platforms work, and gaining that kind of understanding. And I realized that this year Fresh is like it's a blog. It's like a music blog, because it's always just been me, as I've never had anybody else kind of like involved with it. So I started putting songs that I like together into little podcast shows, and then I uploaded them to Mixcloud. I started off uploading them to SoundCloud, but then I ended up getting a strike, and then those strikes, you can't remove them neither.
Yeah.
So I had to start up a whole new account. So I started putting all of these shows on Mixcloud, and they've been on there now for 4 years, and I've kind of come and gone with it, because like I started out, I was doing one a month, and then I did 1 month again the following year. Then the year after that, I kind of dropped off and wasn't doing it, and was university, and just not investing my time in the right place. So coming back to it now, it's like really refreshing, because I've just hit it hard and gone, I'm gonna do a show every week on Mixcloud now. I'm doing like producing and stuff on the side, like just for personal at the minute, but I think I'm probably going to put like a project together for November, and just been watching mixes and being involved, and it's been really refreshing. So Fresh UK is essentially a blog where I kind of post music that I think people should listen to, or do like music reactions to things that maybe not everyone's doing a music reaction to. Like, so yeah, it's just fun. I'm just having fun with it, and it's been a good form of escapism, because it's never changed. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's always been the same. And I did watch, the first time ever, I was at like an e-festival. So like it was a festival, but you're not there. Do you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna lie, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy, because it started at like 5 o'clock in California or something like that, So
Yeah.
it was like 12 o'clock, and I was at work. So like I'd gone and done the work, and I was just sat in my car. And then one of my favorite artists was on the list to be on this night. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna get involved in this. It was called Audius Fest, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna watch the first day of Audius Fest and see how it was. And it was like absolutely mind blowing. Like it was an audio visual thing, and it was like I couldn't deal with everything that was going on. It was so good.
Yeah.
So it was like a whole fresh like perspective, and then so it was really interesting just to see people being creative with it. And there's people can put their political messages in or whatever, and it's so easy to just you can even you can swerve that if you want, and you can like just go for the music that you like. Music is so good because it doesn't even matter about speed as well. It's not even like, oh, I was listening to this first, or like there's
Yeah.
some times where you just be like, oh yeah, no, I've been listening to him for years and years and years. He's really good. But then when somebody else cottons onto it, and then you share that moment of like, oh yeah, 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 they're sick, yeah, yeah, and it's like it's just so refreshing, and it doesn't matter at what stage people get involved. Like it's never too late.
I think that's the thing with music. Like it'll always be around. There'll always be. I mean, look, 100 years, generations of music will always be from where you're starting back in like God knows when, like and different platforms and different types of music and different styles and artists, and having that connection. Like there are so many underrated or overrated artists out there, but you always have that connection of, even if they're doing home shows from DJing from like their living room and just starting up, or doing these live concerts online, and you get this collection of people in a chat or social media or a Discord server, or something. It's nice to have that connection with, like, not many people know. And an example for me is NF, and he's the
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and a couple of his songs have been used on the latest Apex promo, and people started cottoning on, and you can join in the hype online, and you can start on Twitter, a couple of people in like the DMs, and share that like merch collection or live videos. And it's just nice to have that. It will never get boring, and it'll always be exciting because every person is different. Everyone's got their own opinion.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely that's why it's so open. It's such like a broad community, and people can act, whatever type of way they want and try and be dead closed off. But there isn't a single part of music really. Although there's been some, in these recent times, there's been some people that have been doing some outlandish things. I'm not going to go into detail on it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they're kind of using stuff that that's music. They're using like their music related things to like threaten other people, and I just think that's out of order. We're talking about there's a situation going on here. Either make a song about it or do something about it, but then threaten other people about it.
yeah,
Because music industry is it's great for people to see people collabing on things as well and working on projects and feeding off. There's an album this year called the Swing Convention, which is like 90s R&B style that's
yeah,
like cooked up into this 2020 project. It was so amazing. So I just try and provide a place where people can go and they'll listen to like I started doing a Flip Friday. People will listen to like I put 5 clips in there that are sick, and you should go and check them out.
yeah,
The Foucault show every Sunday on Mixcloud, which that's an hour of music that you're probably not going to hear on the radio. You're not going to hear the same 3 Calvin Harris songs on the radio or whatever. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I just try and provide an outlet for music that isn't getting it radio time. I kind of try and give it radio time, if that makes
So
sense.
what was your inspiration like? Was there anybody in particular or any song in particular you go, right, this is my start and this is where I'm going to go?
So there was like I had like the first thing that like got me into music. I had this laptop here, this blue laptop here,
Yeah.
like this old school thing, and I got like Cubase on there, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know how to make beats or anything like that. And then I had Boiler Room. I can't remember what, I think it was like Disclosure's Boiler Room was on, and then I had autoplay on. Then it went on to a guy called K Tronada,
Yeah.
and like I started listening to his music, and I was like, whoa, this guy is like, if I could make music, it would just be like K Tronada's music. Like, this is sick. So he kind of like was like the catalyst for me then seeking like new artists to listen to. And then there was a guy, because I was at music college at this point as well. So there was a guy called Janil. He goes by Mezzo, and he's an amazing track producer. I don't know why he stopped producing, but he was an amazing producer, and he would always like, feed me with different names and different songs to go to. So he'd be like, "Oh, listen to some Gertrude, listen to this," and then I came across a thing called Soul Action Radio, which is like, it used to be 3 hours. It used to be 3 hour show. Um, and the host Joe K just used to play all these different tunes from all these different genres that like weren't getting radio time. Like it was like one of them underground. Like if you knew about Soul Action,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Like if you know, you know.
So that, yeah. And then
Yeah.
they started like releasing like their own like white labels and things, and like it was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is sick. Like I would love to do something like this. And then I did the first like Foucault show, which was like, I only did like half an hour ones to start with because I wanted to kind of see if like I could get a grasp on what I was doing. I started doing those, and then I putting them up, and then Soul Action just grew like massively. So when I first listened to them, they were on Rinse FM, but before that, they were at like K Beach, which is like where it originally started. Then it went to Rinse, and then it was at like Red Bull Studios, and then now they're on Beats One, Apple Radio every Saturday, and it's like that progression is crazy. And now Soul Action is absolutely huge. They're doing live shows. Joe K was hosting some interviews at Coachella. Like it's crazy to see that progression. And then so I was like doing my own thing then, and I started putting in songs that I felt like people needed to listen to and stuff. And sometimes I'll go to Soul Action and like I'll pick up like 5 songs that I'll be like, oh yeah, they were all sick, and then I'll bring them over here, and then I might be like, oh, I'll chuck a couple of those in to bolster the hour out. Or so it's just, Soul Action was kind of a massive catalyst. And then there was Nang as well, which was like kind of like the British version.
Yeah.
There was a guy called Ralph Hardy, and he was a great host because he used to just make me howl. It was so funny because he'd like, I'm not sure if you ever saw the Kanye West interview where he was like, "How, Sway? You ain't got the answers, Sway."
Yeah. Well, I've seen the clip because it's become like a meme pretty much. And I've seen a couple of clips from interviews, and it's just that reaction of seeing it, or how people react within the industry to something that's happened. Or
Yeah. So yeah, like, so there's bits where he's talking about Ralph Lauren, where Kanye West is like, Sway's like, oh yeah, no, but I've released T-shirts and I've sold, tens of thousands. He's like, yeah, but it ain't Ralph though. It ain't on that Ralph level. And then like Ralph Hardy chopped that out and like uses it in all of his shows. And then it makes me laugh because then it's like Kanye West is talking about Ralph Hardy and he's not.
yeah,
He's talking about Ralph Lauren. And so Ralph Hardy used to crack me up, man. He was brilliant. I haven't listened to Nang in a minute, but and he used to play a lot of grime as well. So that's where it kind of. Then I started getting like a whole scope because I was getting like the soul action and all the American vibes, and then I was getting Nang, which was getting like some of the soul action vibes and a lot of the grime vibes as well. And then I was like, right, okay, I've got this massive compass of music, and I just want to share it with people because I would never play a song to 10 people and then them 10 people maybe go and buy the track or go and buy the album, or do you know what I mean?
I mean, even if it's just to get in, like, success that you've got a message across to one person, because that's what you do, and there's still that sense of reward there. Like you say, 1, 10, 100, 1,000. It be anybody. It's kind of hard to put on it before because I kind of want to get on to an experience that you had DJing in abroad and like talk about that experience that you've had. But is there out there? It's hard to sum up because I'm not sure on the what's happening in terms of the music scene. But like any underrated artist that you would say, if you're into this music, then go and listen to get, or if there's anything you want to push.
Right. So we've got like different people for different things. So a lot of people can kind of say like a song that they like, and then I can kind of maybe come up with maybe one or two artists that they would like as a result of that. If you're looking for like female R&B artists, I mean, she's not so underground, but Snow Allegra is definitely on the come up. Like she's a lot more on people's scope now than she was before. But Snow Allegra was really good. And then Emma V, if you want like UK R&B female singers, like Emma V she's so good. Like she's got like a proper Mary J Blige kind of vibe. But, if anybody's into that kind of music, then check out her Honeymoon project. That was sick. And then if you want, dance floor R&B flips, like you want KMB or you want K Tronada, those two guys are sick. They're so good. If you want, trap style, mad electronic trap style beats, then you want Sam Gellatry from Scotland. He's amazing.
Yeah.
If you want, stuff that's like old school Neptunes, like Pharrell and Chad back when they were producing in NERD and stuff. If you want vibes like that, you can go to Rondafall from Birmingham. He's like proper cottoned into that Neptune style vibe. There's something for everybody, and that's the one thing I say about my radio show is that you might not like every single track that's on there. You might only like one, but the one that you do like, you will really like it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why it's always worth a listen. And plus, they're an hour. You can just bang them on in the background and like. Because that's all I do in mixes. I'll just put a mix on in the background, and then if something catches my ear, I'll go, wait, hang on, rewind that, and then try and find the track list or whatever. So, yeah, there's vibes for everybody. If somebody wants to hit me up and say, oh, I listen to this kind of person, and then I'll be like, right, okay, well, we've got this guy and this guy, or there's these two girls are really good, or there's people still in 90s style R&B right now, like Devon Morrison. He is the guy at the minute. Like his vibe is like 90s R&B in its prime, but in 2020, like he's brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely. So and then you've got I don't know. It's just mad. Sorry, I didn't want to put you off.
No, I was just saying. So it's like there is something for everybody. Like you say, that is such a broad umbrella. Like you say, like particular vocal notes that you like, or a style that you want to listen to most. Like, for example, I listen to a lot of Jessica Reyes at the moment, and like just having.
I've I've heard of her and I've seen her on Gary V on Gary V's channel, but I've never listened to her stuff. There's so many people, like somebody will say a name, you go, oh yeah, I need to delve into that, or I need to listen to that. I've never listened to her, man.
And I'm listening to Hopsin's new album, Come By Art, at the moment. Hello? Are we there, bro? Hang on. Bear with.
I've got you now. I've got you now. It dropped out fully. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, mad. So Zoom, it can do that. Like I said, like we saw right at the start.
Yeah, no, Hopsin's sick, bro. Like, I follow him. I followed that and Undercover Prodigy on Instagram. So like, Hopsin's always popping up, and his flows and his beats are crazy. Like, they're so crazy.
Yeah.
But he's been sick, like way back when it was. What were they called? What was their group called? There was him, Dizzy Wright, Jared Benton, Swizz Beat. I can't remember what it was called. Oh, it's gonna bloody do my head in now. But they had like a collective, and I can't remember what it was called. But they were sick. They were so sick together.
I've just googled it, but I can't.
See if I can find it.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. It's just got associated with it and like
Funk Volume. That's what it was called. Funk Volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Funk Volume was sick, but Undercover Prodigy is sick as well. I'm just waiting to see, what other artists can come out on Undercover Prodigy. And
artists, they're so like I can't categorize what people will like and push a sound if it's not, and it'll always bang off in the music scene, though, and there will always be like radio. That you'll always have a radio. You'll always have that streaming service. You'll always have the live performances.
I don't know if we'll always have a streaming service. I don't know about that one. Only from a sense of it surprised me because I've just done an essay on new business models for media and music to kind of conquer piracy or the reactions to piracy, and I didn't realize that like the infrastructure of Spotify is so delicate. Like it's unreal. Spotify haven't made a profit since they started, apart from this first quarter of this year. They made a profit, but then they're still going to be out of pocket for the rest of the year. And they literally survive on the fact that they've hyped themselves up enough where people go, yeah, I go to Spotify for my music. Like, that's all they survive on. If they can't uphold, like, their deals with the record labels, they'll collapse. If they can't uphold, their contracts with hardware providers, they'll collapse. Like, they've got, like, 4 things or 5 things, 5 strands, and if any one of those strands fails, the whole thing could like just completely collapse on its head. So it's only the volume of customers that is keeping them alive. They survive. Spotify survives on hype alone. Doesn't make any profit.
Yeah.
So I think there's. I just think it will go. I just think it will. I think eventually it will collapse because people won't find any longevity in it.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was so delicate. I thought it was kind of one of them things that you don't really hear or know about unless you're into it. Like,
yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, because I was just obviously I've had to do the research for the essay, but I didn't realize how fragile they were. Like, and the same goes for not so much with Netflix, because Netflix can produce their own content, but Spotify really they can't produce their own content. Can't become a record label. They've got their hands tied behind their back, and they basically are supported by venture capital, like, entirely. So the only reason they survive every year is simply because there's somebody footing the bill every year.
Yeah. And it is always like, so I know for Spotify, for example, they've got the opposite. Would you say Spotify's biggest competitor is Deezer? Sound?
No, Apple Music.
Apple Music, yeah.
Music is there, yeah, because Spotify have already gone out their way as well to blame Apple Music for trying to take a chunk of their customers, but Apple Music have just done what any business would have done and just react to the popularity in Spotify. So I can't fault Apple Music for doing it, but at least they can they can release stuff and they can operate in their own kind of way.
Yeah.
Which is much different to Spotify. Have got their hands tied behind their back, and I won't be surprised if within the next 10 years we see Spotify fail, and there'll be. But I think even if it fails, it will be like rebranded and completely changed, and they'll come up with something new for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it'll come to a point where it just gets quite toxic for them to try and survive within the competition of. They'll start, like I say, trying to blame Apple and get like, oh, we've mentioned Apple in this headline and we're going to draw more attention, and it'll just start going in a toxic way if it carries on.
Yeah. So, and it's like Spotify, Apple Music. You don't get Apple Music unless you do the trial and then pay. Whereas Spotify, you can use Spotify for free anyway. Yeah. Like you don't have to have Spotify Premium to do the things that you want to do. It just covers ads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just pay to get ads in between songs, so it's kind of like, well, Spotify offer a free service, so I don't really know how they make any money at all. And as shown, they don't. The figures are down massively.
I mean, you'll always have Spotify Premium, and then they've got Spotify Student Premium, and then they've got Spotify Family Premium, and it's just they're going to leave themselves with nowhere to go.
Yeah, definitely.
But the last topic, I've lost it. Hang on. The last topic is talking about a personal experience that you had in DJing in Beef. Is it Beefer?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. How did that come about? What was that like?
So, my mum went out a few times with her girlfriends.
Yeah.
And they kept going to this place called Itaka's. Like they kept going there, and then they started like talking to the staff there, or whatever, and then the staff would come out and have some drinks with them, or whatever. So my mum was always saying, "Oh yeah, I'll have to, you'll have to meet my son." Yeah. So then me, my dad, and my mum went out and met all these people, and they were all absolutely lovely. And then was talking to the DJs there, because the two DJs that they had were English. I know they had three DJs. They had three DJs, I think. They had a guy called Jason, who absolutely sound lovely bloke, Cockney Geese. And then there was a guy called Johnny as well. He's from Chesterfield. And then they had another DJ in the evening.
Yeah.
And was just chatting to them or whatever. And then Johnny was saying, "Oh, you should bring your USB or whatever, and then you can do, I could give you a little an hour and a half or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Give me a break." So I did that. I got a USB. I took it to Itaka's, and then like every now and again I just get to do, like, he'll set me up with something. So yeah. I DJ'd at Itaka's like maybe 6 times. Like it would only be like 1 or 2 times on a holiday, and then I'd go again next year and do the same. It would let me do the same again. So in total, I probably DJ'd there about 6 times, and then I did an event as well called Chow, which was like there was a flyer and all that business. Like it was an advertised thing. And I was the opener for that. So I opened up, did some stuff, and my music collection back then as well weren't even as good as it is now. So, I listened to it back then and go, God, yeah, I didn't have much to go with, but I had, enough to do a set. So did that, and then that was there was some other British guys there doing a thing called like Emerge, and they were all really good DJs. And the thing was, obviously my music preference to what I like to play for stuff it's not really Ibiza music, if that makes sense. Like, it's not the traditional sense, techno or house, or I'm kind of more slight flips of R&B, like R&B dance music. So it's kind of a little bit like, it still works completely, but it's not like in the traditional sense of, oh, I'm a DJ. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, did that a couple of times, and then last year, Itaka's basically got sold,
right?
And the owners, it weren't Spanish owners anymore; it's English owners now. So it's not really the same anymore. So Johnny ended up going to Ibiza Rocks Bar, which is next door.
Yeah.
So he ended up working there. So when we went out, I saw Johnny in there, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll try and set you on." I think it was like on the Friday. He was like, "I'll try and get you a gig on the Friday if you're up to it." And I was like, "Yeah, man, that would be amazing." Like, because I never expect to go and play. Do you know what I mean? Like, I never expect to go to Ibiza and be like, just waltzed in. Like, it's such a privilege because, he's contracted, he's getting a wage, and he doesn't have to give up that time. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so just relaxing to just play tunes and mix them in and whatnot. So I always thank Johnny for allowing me to have those opportunities to do that, because it's the talking point. Like, we're talking about it now. Do you know what I mean? So it's a mad thing. So 2019, in summer of 2019, Johnny was like, "Yeah, he'll get you this gig on a Friday or whatever." So I went and played the gig, and it was great. And it's not like, there's loads and loads of people there. Like, it was in the afternoon, there's people sat there just eating or whatever, and you're just playing some tunes. Like, it's not like I'm at Glastonbury or something. Do you know what I mean? It's I'm just playing some. People are sitting and whatnot, and it was great. And then the little kid at the end, like, just finished the set, and then this little kid come over and he's like, "Oh, can I have a photo with you?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just some guy. Like, I'm not nothing special. I'm just some geezer that's like from Hucknall." So yeah, no, it was good, man. It was good, and obviously I had Tom was there with me as well. So I always try and get a photo whilst I'm doing it, because it's rare opportunities to go. There's loads of people that want to go to Ibiza and do a DJ full season, like, and the opportunities are hard to come by. So for me to be able to just go and like do a little bit whilst I'm on holiday as well, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not getting paid. I get to do this experience for a couple of hours, and it really does just add an element to the holiday. And like I say, it's a great talking point to go, "Oh yeah, no, I've DJed in IB for a couple of times." Like,
just to sprinkle it in there, just drop it in. You DJed in IB for.
I don't think I say it like at all, really. If I'm honest with you, I think somebody will say something like, "Oh, my friend's DJing in Ibiza or whatever," and I'll go, "Oh yeah, no, I've." You know what I mean? Like, it will come off the back of someone else saying that. Or like, "Oh yeah, just I did this." All of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not me. But
one of them ones that gone, "Oh, I took a gap year and did all this."
Yeah, I climbed Mount Everest and DJ'd on top of Mount Everest. Yeah.
But no.
But yeah, no, I would love to. I'd love to like do like a regular spot in Lincoln or something. Just even if it was just like an hour on Friday or something where I could play a vibe for a bit or play a vibe for a few hours or whatever. But because I was in Electronic Music Society, but I don't know what's happened to it. I don't know if it still exists or not. But I couldn't find it at the Freshers' Fair.
Not a clue, bro.
I'm gonna see if it's there at this year's Freshers Fair, and then if it's not, then I'm gonna just assume that it don't exist no more. But because they used to like do sets, they used to do like a couple sets on a Friday at like Red 5.
Yeah.
They would get, and then people could just literally, they'd be like, anybody want to DJ this Friday at Red 5, and they'd be like, oh yeah, sick, yeah, let's do that. So, but I never got to do it because I was always working in a bar. But now that I've got a different job, it's everything's blessed. So, yeah, I would like to try and do like just a regular gig, even if it was like once a week on a certain day. But we're looking at might be doing radio in Lincoln in September, so I might be hosting a show weekly there. So, got to see how that all pans out. But yeah, everything's looking nice, man.
I'll make sure to hit you up then for when I need a night out in Lincoln and I'm not a student anymore. I need to.
Oh yeah, I forget you're not going to be there, are you?
No, I need to be a +1, bro.
Nah, that's mad. It's weird, isn't it? There's going to be. I've realised there isn't really going to be anybody.
You'll have.
No, because I was the year below.
Yeah.
Oh, because I've still got Will and Marley though, so.
Yeah.
Still got some of the peeps. Do you know what I mean? Like we're still rocking strong. It's
gonna be mad.
Oh yeah, it will.
Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know, and you just got to keep going forward.
Like I say, I wouldn't have had those opportunities if my mum had been just chatting away to the staff and to the DJs and stuff like it. Just those opportunities wouldn't have appeared at all. Wouldn't have arrived. So.
But that's life, isn't it, bro? You just got to take the chances that come, and that's it. Like
you have, man. Just got to take it.
But yeah, if there's anything that you'd like to add or to ask or to talk about, then I feel like this has been a pretty strong episode, and we can sign off.
No, it's been sound, man. I've not got anything else to add, really. We've been quite deep, like went in quite deep with like the gaming thing, like on it, not on like its typical sense, like in like a deep, like thinkable. It'll make people think, and then I mean, it's been nice.
And that's what you never realise you've ended up doing it. And I was saying this to Curtis, I think, but you always end up on a tangent. You always end up deep down, getting this poignant notes across or thinkable messages or questions to start asking.
Yeah. Mad.
But no, it's been a good episode, bro, and definitely have to get you on again.
We'll have to do it, man. Do it sometime. Hopefully, we'll do it in person though next time.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. Hopefully soon, before the summer's over, we'll get together and sort something out.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Decent, bro. All right then, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode 5. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Don't forget to go check out Paice's channel. I'll leave a description to both Fresh and Paice Maker down below, as well as any other links on platforms. I think, to be fair, we've been doing over an hour and a half, pushing 2 hours. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Any other questions that you guys would like to know and ask, I can get them asked and put in a later video. But yeah, I'll catch you all in a bit. See ya.